Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Ted.
And today we review Unearthed Arcana Mystics. We're going to go through all 5 of the orders as a part 1 of this review. Jump down in the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So it's that time again. It's Monday morning. It's time for yet another Unearthed Arcana series. And this time we're going to go into the Mystic class, and this one's so big we got to break it up.
Yeah, and as always, the link to it is actually in the description below. In case by some chance you haven't seen it yet, you can go check it out. And I know the masses have been clamoring for Nate the Nerdarch's opinion on the Mystic. You will have to yet wait a little bit longer.
So the Mystic class is pretty cool. I think it nods back in many different ways to some of the psionics of old, but I do feel that there's some stuff that has been left out because of the way they try to incorporate everything all together in one go. I don't know how you particularly feel about that.
It's, you know, it's very interesting, the class itself. It's unique, and they incorporated new mechanics, and it doesn't feel like this is just another spellcaster. But at the same time, they gave us another spellcaster for intelligence, which which was a bit weak compared to charisma and wisdom. With that, we also get a new kind of mechanic for the class as well. That's for role playing, and that's the quirks, the mystic quirks, and it suggests you take 2 of them or roll. And they're weird things like I won't wear a certain color, I won't say my own name, I never consume alcohol, I always wear a specific piece of clothing. So these are just cool role-playing things that'll spark up conversation for your character. Again, your basic class features are you get 2 skills, you're proficient in light armor, simple weapons, no tools, you get the D8 like many of the classes. You're not, so right there that screams you're not a full caster. Good saving throws, intelligence, wisdom, makes sense for this character.
Exactly. Now, I will say that this is a very skill-heavy class, depending upon what direction you go in.
It can be, yes.
Because you get skills from your class, but then you also get skills from your archetype for most of them. And like cleric and sorcerer, you pick your archetype at first level. So right off the bat, to me, this screamed, I think there's a lot of people who are going to dip into Mystic as a multi-class to get little nitpicky choices.
Yeah. When I look at Mystic by itself, I think it's a very well balanced class, and I see no issues with it as it is. The real trouble is, and because it's so meaty, is how will it interact with the other classes. Anytime when you have things that you can grab at first level, that makes for a real easy dip. Especially when one of the class features is holding your psionic focus on particular things that are constants. So it's not even like, okay, you're going to lose that resource.
Right, and we'll get into the disciplines and talents in the next video, which will come out later this afternoon. So, we can mention those specific problems when we get there, but right now we're just going to get into the actual meat of the class. And
so basically, when you start off, you get a discipline. And then I want to say, they give you 5 different archetypes to pick from. And most of those, all but one of them, give you 2 more disciplines to pick from. Now, that being said, it just gives you more options. You only have so many resources you can use. So you can kind of switch back and forth, more variety of powers. But it's not going to give you more stuff you can do.
So the interesting build, it definitely fits with the 2nd edition of you have psionic strength points. Here they're called psi points. They still want the PPs, and it bothers me.
The dick jokes will be a flying with this one. There's no avoiding it now.
So you have your psionic points and you have your psionic limit, and that is a completely new concept, right?
The limit?
Yeah.
There might have been one in 3rd edition.
Okay, I don't remember a limit. You guys out there, I'm certain you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But you have a situation where you have points and you can only expend so much at a given time, and that would be your limit.
When speaking about side points and your limit, keep in mind this number, 10th level. That's the sweet spot. And, that's where you're going to be able to maximize being a mystic.
Now, that limit is at 10th level. You can spend 7 at any given time on a single thing, and most of the things don't have any kind of way of going over 7, although there's a couple things where you can tweak something else that you've already done. But
right, so basically you have a DC, your DC for your psionic abilities and your attack modifier, same exact thing any other spellcasting class. We don't really need to delve deeply there. Mystic Recovery, this is the thing that says, well, you know what, you're going to be a little bit tankier than some other classes, because it's starting at 2nd level. When you spend psi points on a sonic discipline, you can take a bonus action to regain hit points equal to your psi points you spend. So basically, you kind of have like a little bit of regeneration going on,
which I thought was a little weird. I don't see how that really fits the whole idea of, okay, I'm cerebral, so that's going to get my body back.
Well, I took it as mind over matter. You know, they basically, you know, your mind commands, your body obeys, and yeah, okay. There's instances of psychic surgery and stuff like that. So
you got me. Mind over body won the argument. 2nd level, you get telepathy, which is pretty crazy if you ask me, but not unprecedented because it appears in the Warlock if you go with the Great Old One Pact. So getting it as a 2nd level totally makes sense with what the Scion, you know, Psychic Warrior, whatever. You know, they're all now all mixed together. But you know, the Psionicist of ages past totally fits.
Strength of mind.
Strength of mind. This is at 4th level, so this is a weird situation because very rarely do you get an ability adjustment and a power. But I guess Strength of Mind was just too much to push to 3rd level. And here's where you can say, all right, well, intelligence I'm always proficient, but you know what? Every so often I might want to switch out my saving throws of wisdom, so you can dip out of wisdom and get any of the other saves, strength, dex, con, or charisma, and you can replace that. You can switch it around every short or long rest.
Now, it's actually this. I think this is a little bit changed from either I don't know if it was the 2nd version or the 1st version of the Mystic, where you could have 2 good saving throws.
I think they changed it around. They said you're locked in on intelligence.
Yes,
because that's not a good one.
Right.
You know, if you could have wisdom and dexterity, I think that would be
or dex and con or whatever. But yeah, so they kind of, I think it was tweaked. You know, I don't know which version it was tweaked at. So it's interesting. It's decent. With a little planning, your character can be ready for a situation. So I like that one.
Yeah. So if you're going in against a dragon, you're gonna know you need your dex save.
Yes. Or or some other thing that does a lot, or something like when we fought the Death Tyrant, having a good con save would have been helpful.
Right. Now that one he actually hits many different places, but yeah, if you've got the ability to know what you're up against.
I find the potent sonic ability a little lazy and weak. Like it's the same
argument. 8th
argument.
level. I don't like a lot of the 8th level abilities, you know, specifically in the cleric. And I think here it's like, well, we're just gonna add tack on some damage. You do an extra d8 psychic damage. Like I think that could be really powerful if you go with a couple of the melee builds.
Yeah, Soul Knife and the Immortals.
Right.
That's definitely geared towards those guys. They're gonna like it. Also, in addition, add your intelligence modifier to any damage you roll make with a sonic talent.
And that to me is like, all right, this is kind of crap because of, you know, again, we'll get into the talents later, but
I almost feel like these abilities should have been broken out to the archetypes.
Yeah.
Consumptive power.
So this is kind of amusing. This is where if you actually kill something, you get psi points back, right?
No.
No? Is that? That must be later.
I believe this is the one where you can pay for with your hit points.
Oh,
You're talking about the Soul Knife ability.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, so this consumptive power is essentially you don't have enough power points. Well, you can use your hit points, but it lowers your maximum. At first, I was like, wow, this is insanely broken, until I realized it was lowering your maximum. So, you know, that healing that you can do with the other things does not even help you against this.
Well, it lowers your maximum, and you can do it once. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So this is a once-a-day thing. So even if you're like, all right, I'm tapped out, all right, let me blow my load here and take 7 hit points off and, you know, do the best thing I got.
I feel like with that one, I wouldn't even limit it, to be honest with you. You want to use all your hit points, you know, go ahead.
Well, I think there's times.
There's reasons for it, yeah.
Well,
frankly, you couldn't use all your hit points because then you'd be dead because you're on your maximum.
Well, I mean, you could lower it to 0 and then you're literally a comatose until you finish a long rest.
Maybe. I don't know because it's your maximum. It's not your hit
If your
points.
maximum 0, you're unconscious.
Yeah.
You're not at negative. You're not dying. You're just down.
Oh, I think you're dying. But I don't know. I would force death saves anyway. That's a different argument in an argument section.
All right, so Psionic Mastery. This is the one that I thought was really weird.
I think it's really good.
Okay, well, all right, maybe you understood it better than I did because it's...
Okay. This is the one. It gives you a special pool of psi points. With that pool, you can use it on one or multiple sonic powers, sonic disciplines that require concentration, and you can concentrate them on them all. But right, if you for instance, if you use 7 of your 9 points, but then go to activate another one that requires 3 points, because it's one above this special pool, you would end the concentration on the effect you're already concentrating on. So the numbers doesn't matter how the numbers balance out. At a certain point, you get 11 points to play with.
Yeah, at 15th level.
And, you know, that could be 5 different powers going on at the same time. As long as they are, you know, as long as they don't tally more than that 11. But then if you go and use something above and beyond, it would shut them all down.
But you could concentrate on them and only need to have 1 check to maintain your concentration.
You know, I don't know. No, well, that part of clear on, I would think it would default to the normal concentration rules. Maybe it is only 1. I really don't know, but it does give you the ability to concentrate on multiple effects at the same time. That's the most powerful thing.
Okay.
You can layer like, you know, the wizards used to be able to do, but only with the special pool. And really, I'm thinking like, you know, I used 5 as an example, and you'd have 1 point left over, but you're not going to be able to do the really cool things. And it's also only thing it has to require a bonus action to use or an action to use it. So it's also very specific. And I'm sure there's a built-in mechanic in the actual disciplines themselves that keeps, you know, it makes that more restrictive.
Further in check.
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was really weird, but
now. I guess, and you know, as you gain levels, eventually you get to use it a bunch of times a day. You're going to get to use it 3 times a day, I believe. So yeah, that does make these guys pretty strong, but it also means you'll be blowing through those points really fast.
But if you can, you know, you gain an additional use at 13, 15, 17, so that's 4 times a day that you can just be like, all right, well, I'm going to use this pool. Yes. So, like when you decide to use it, you're going to generate a whole new pool.
Yeah.
So that's a whole bunch of extra free points.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right there. So that's, yeah.
So that's at 17th level, you're looking at an additional 44 points for concentration effects.
Yes. Although
it doesn't have to necessarily be concentration, right?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
But when we get back into like the disciplines, I'll go back on that. Try and go back on that and remember to say why. I don't think it's that big a deal.
All right, so Psionic Body,
this is like the best 20th level ability in the game right now.
At 20th level, your mastery of psionic power causes your mind to transcend the body. Your physical form is infused with psionic energy, and you gain the following benefits. Not once a day,
You're just this thing.
You just become this thing. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Period. Holy crap. That dragon attack that claws you or bites you.
Half damage.
Half damage.
Fireball. Oh, well, no, that's only plus.
You no longer age. You have decided, you know what? Forget this thing. I'm immortal now until something kills me.
Right. And if you thought resistance was good, wait, there's more.
You are immune to disease, poison damage, and the poison condition. Holy crud. Now...
this is the kicker. Half the time you're immortal. Literally.
We're not done yet. 55% of the time, my friend. If you die, roll a d20. On a 10 or higher, you discorporate with 0 hit points. Instead of dying, you fall unconscious. You and your gear disappear. You appear at a spot of your choice 1d3 days later on the plane of existence where you died, having gained the benefits of a long rest. 55% of the time
don't
you
even
die.
Lose, don't even lose anything.
I don't lose anything. I'm fine.
Not bad at all.
Now, the only problem is you got a D3 days to wait. So, if the campaign is continuing, you might have to sit out for, a touch.
I guess that's it, but you're not dead.
But you're not dead. You suffer no ill effects. There is no costly gold requirement to bring you back. No one can steal your gear. You just poof.
You're chilling. You're in timeout. Naughty.
So, holy crap. Like, all right, yeah, the barbarian getting a +4 to strength and a +4 to con is pretty nice. But I think this one's like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I'm just not going to die. Screw you guys. And then if you start mixing that with some other things like racial abilities and stuff, you can really make it a little more ridiculous. Like even the half-orc one where you're like, I have 1 hit point. And then if they kill that 1 hit point, then you still have a chance of not dying anyway.
Indeed. All right, so now we're going to get into Mystic Orders. And Dave, you actually counted them. There's 5 different orders
I believe
in
so.
here. All right, so we've got Order of the Avatar. And this is the one of mastering the inner life to such an extent that you can manipulate and amplify the emotions of others. So, like, where do you feel that this one really ties into with previous editions?
This is they did have in one of the other books, what was it? It was a one that dealt with auras. I didn't really beyond Soul Knife, Psychic Warrior, and Scion, I don't really like them that much.
Okay.
This guy is your buffer. He is going to be buffing the party pretty much and debuffing enemies.
So you get an avatar of battle. You can essentially inspire other people when you aren't incapacitated. Gives everybody a +2 to initiative if they're within 30 feet of you.
Well, these guys also get medium armor. They get shields. They're going to get 2 additional bonus disciplines, like pretty much most of them do. Like you just mentioned, they have the aura where they give a bonus to initiative. Avatar of Healing, 6th level. So within 30 feet of you, you can see at 30 feet of you, who can see you regains additional hit points equal to your intelligence modifier minimum of 0 whenever they gain hit points from the Psionic discipline. So this is also like the healer version. If you have a power that can heal, or if someone else is in the party and they have a power to heal, this guy can add to that.
So this is your cleric that's using intelligence.
Kind of, yeah. And then, the 14th ability is really sweet. Any ally within 30 feet can use the dash action as a bonus action.
This is really useful if you're in a chase sequence.
Yeah, making everybody run faster. Move it.
So I felt while reading this, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool, but it really was like it didn't feel like, wow, this is fantastic.
So it's the Sonic. It is the psionic paladin, kind of like is what I feel like. He's between the cleric, the bard, and the paladin, all mashed into one sonic goodness. When you get into the actual disciplines that are wrapped up in this, in the avatar disciplines, they are very much buffers and debuffers.
Right. So you can choose to how exactly you want to play your specific avatar.
Order of the Awakened. This is pretty much your standard Scion telepath. Again, as we stated with many of them, you're going to get more disciplines. You also gain
2 skills of choice.
2 skills of choice.
Animal handling, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, and persuasion, which I thought was kind of interesting since none of them are knowledges.
No, but they're all charisma based because again, this is your empath or your telepath.
That's true. That's true.
Character. Psionic investigation, and this is basically when you have the ability to do object reading.
I actually really like this one. You get to touch an object and kind of see what's happened to it, what it's experienced.
And the power has different it's not level per se, but you have different things you can do with it. One of them is perceiving what's happened around the object. One of them is perceiving what's happened to the object.
And the other was to implant your own little mini camera and know what's going on so that you can follow it later and be like, all right, what is that sword doing right now? Oh my God, it's inside a goblin.
Yeah. And ew, gross. And this is an ability that you can use every short or long rest.
I think it's a lot of fun.
I think it is. It's kind of a ribbon ability. It's one of those ones that's going to be more useful depending on how creative your players are.
Yes, and what your GM is allowing, because realistically, it takes a cooperative GM to really make this thing work.
So now we're going to see a little bit different use of one of our mechanics, and that is Sonic Surge, which lets us use our Sonic Focus in a different way. And that focus is something, I guess we didn't really touch on it, but it involves more when we get into the disciplines on how you would use that.
Yeah, every mystic has a Sonic Focus, and it's typically going to be used on your disciplines, and it usually comes with a static power, but every so often your order, your archetype, if you will, gives you something that has the ability to be like, you know what, I'm going to sack out my focus to have this effect happen. And once you do that, you can't get your focus back until you take a short rest.
In this case, though, it's kind of weak because what you're basically trading your focus for is giving someone disadvantage on a saving throw.
But if it's a matter of, import.
Yeah, I still think that roll better matter a lot. And there's still no guarantee that disadvantage is going to help you.
That's true, but
for an ability that is ongoing is what you're trading.
Yes.
So you have to be real careful with how you do that.
Well, I mean, as always.
So 14th level is Spectral Form. You can be a psionic ghost, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't see how this one goes to telepath, other than all right, maybe you're stretching to, okay, well, I've got object reading, so maybe I'm projecting to do more scouty stuff.
This is how I saw it. It's not done well, but I kind of see astral projection.
Okay.
But typically how astral projection works is you leave your body.
Right.
And I felt like, maybe better range, more duration, something else might have been more appropriate, and it's kept with a theme of your body's still there, but you're able to travel outside of it.
So now we move on to Order of the Immortal.
This is kind of like our Psychic Warrior from 3rd edition.
This is exactly like that. I was kind of getting into it until I realized that all of the abilities therein seem to be flavored in the I just want to shrug off damage or heal. So you get your 2 more disciplines.
Big shocker there.
Yeah, instead of actually getting proficiency in armor and that kind of stuff, they're like, you know what? We're gonna give you the barbarian armor class.
Yeah, so you're just gonna use your AC equals 10 plus your Dex and Con, and you still you can't be using a shield or wearing armor when you do it,
which is annoying. I don't like the fact that it's like you can't use a shield. To me, there is nothing that says.
Personally, I'd rather see these guys in a shield and heavy armor, and I would rather seen this ability go to the Soul Knife.
Okay.
But it might have been too good, mechanically.
Possibly. So 3rd level, you get Sonic Resilience. I thought this one is really cool if you actually stat your character properly, because if you don't have a 12 intelligence or higher, it's useless. You get essentially a little bit more regeneration.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So you get temporary hit points equal to your intelligence modifier, start of each of your turns, right? So every turn, and is it these guys that get a bonus hit point? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Immortal Durability, which my apologies, I skipped over that part. I went right into the armor class. Starting at 1st level, your hit point maximum increases by 1 per mystic level, so it is limited into the class.
Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of really good. I'm thinking Gnome. Gnome would make a great
not held
mystic. No, because in Gnome you can actually go with Con and Intelligence.
Okay.
Either Snurf Neblin or the Tinker Gnomes, Rock.
Okay.
So yeah, that makes them pretty tanky. Gaining that bonus hit point every round, not bad.
I think it actually bumps them up to basically what would be the standard. So if you get 5 on a D8, you get 6 on a D10. So it pushes you into the fighter level. situation.
Yeah, pretty much pushes in the fighter level, and then when you combine it with the fact that they're going to heal as well, it's definitely going to help them. Again, my beef with this one is the fact that they're not wearing armor. I'd like to see them wear armor more so than having this barbarian version of psionic armor.
So 6th level, you can draw on your psychic focus to escape death's grasp. As a reaction when you take damage, you can have that damage against you. Your psychic focus immediately ends if it's active, and you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. And you can't use this feature if you can't use your psychic focus.
So I actually think this is a much better ability of blowing your psychic focus.
Yeah.
Because, like, you get hit with that big crit that does, like, 50 points of damage or 80 points of damage, something. Like this, you can, like, weigh out how worth it is to use it or not. Where with the other one, it's a crapshoot.
I agree.
Immortal Will! Starting at 14th level, you draw on your reserves of sonic power to survive beyond death. At the end of your turn, while at 0 hit points, you can spend 5 psi points to immediately gain a number of hit points equal to your mystic level plus your constitution modifier. Not bad, save your ass. And then when you combine this with the 20th level ability, so, once again, chances are you're going to get out of trouble. I just don't die.
It's not bad. I definitely like it. But, like, the further into it I read, like, yeah, you've got a whole bunch of things built on Immortal, but if you're playing well enough and staying alive, your abilities aren't really going to, always trigger.
So Order of the Nomad, they went kind of far afield with this one compared to previous editions. Mm-hmm. So in previous editions, Order of the Nomad was like your psychoportation type powers, right? And now it is more like the interwebs of psionic power. Like they talk about this life web, or they call it something very specific in here.
The living web of knowledge, they call the noosphere.
Yeah. So it's like the arcane internet, really, pretty much. So they do a couple things that are interesting. Bonus disciplines, of course, but breadth of knowledge is like, how we said, this can be a very knowledge heavy class, and where a lot of them say, hey, pick 2 more from this list. They go, no, pick 2 languages, pick 2 tool proficiencies, pick 2 skill proficiencies, or mix and match.
Right.
Every short rest, you just decide what you know how to do.
Is it short rest or long rest?
I thought.
But if it lasts until you finish a long rest.
Okay, so once a day, basically, you change.
But
it,
it's like, all right, well, we're going to the Orcish lands. Okay, I will know Orc.
Right, or we're going to be mountain climbing. I think I should know how to do that today.
All right, so we're going to go visit the orcs in the mountains. All right, I know athletics, and I can speak their language. Bam.
Yeah.
I think having
it's the Matrix.
I think having this thing at first level, I think it's one of those things. I think that's gonna give people a lot of incentive to dip into that.
It's an easy place to abuse.
All right, so memory of 1,000 steps, or should we really say the memory of the last 15 paces? This is the one that you have the ability to, when an attack hits you, you can blink out of existence, go to somewhere you've been within the last turn, and the attack misses. Fantastic power. But the problem is, if you're not moving,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So I'm bothered by the fact that it's called the memory of 1,000 steps when it's really like
it should have been called Nana.
It's really the memory of the past 15 paces. It's
6th level is actually a lame ability in my opinion. Superior teleportation.
And here again, I got a problem with the name, but go ahead.
Yeah, because it's called superior. It should be so teleportation. Starting at 6th level, you gain the superior talent for teleportation. When you use a sonic discipline to teleport any distance, you can increase that distance by up to 10 feet.
So moderately better teleportation is what I would have called this, because it's not going to work with Misty Step. It's not going to work with teleportation.
It only works with psionic teleportation, and there's some things that do, but I don't think there's like a ton. And, it's very specific, and it's going to be tied to how many power points you have to spend for the day, or side points you spend for the day.
And honestly, it's just an extra 10 feet.
Yes.
Like, that to me, bleh.
There's like abilities that give you extra 10 feet of movement all the time, no matter how you move, that are better.
I'm not feeling this one, guys. Effortless Journey, starting at 14th level. your mind can mystically move your body. Once on each of your turns, you can forfeit up to 30 feet of your movement to teleport the distance you fortified. You must teleport to an unoccupied space you can see. And at first, when I'm reading this, I'm like, great, you can do this. And every time you do it, you move 40 feet, not 30 feet. But no, because Effortless Journey is not a psionic discipline. Therefore, the moderately better teleportation doesn't qualify.
Pretty much. You know what, though? When I look at the Order of the Nomad, know what I really think of? I think of, were they the Naboo from Avatar?
Yeah.
Like, the life web that they kind of thought, like, this is definitely that feel. I like the flavor going on here, but a lot of the abilities are so-so. There's better choices. Breath
of Knowledge, fantastic ability. I think a lot of people are going to dip into first level for this, and they'll get all kinds of great stuff for being a first level mystic.
It's all downhill after that. Now, Effortless Journey's good too. Like the fact that you can just teleport 30 feet whenever you want, you can bamf.
Yeah, I was going to actually say that, like, all right, this is your Nightcrawler build.
Yeah.
But, you know,
the 6th level ability and the third level ability is not bad too.
The third level abilities, the mechanics of it are great. I'm just griping at the name. The 6th level ability is meh.
Yeah, that's definitely a ribbon ability. All right, this one's not really bad. It's actually when you tally it up and you build your character a certain way, it's good.
All right, and of course you'll have to also see what psionic disciplines you wind up taking as well. So Soul Knife. I'm loving this one. You get proficiency with medium armor and martial weapons
that you'll never use.
You're not going to use because there's no reason to. And then you have the ability to actually make your soul knife at first level. So therefore, there's lots of people who are going to be dipping into this one as well because you get the ability to create your soul knife blades, which they do a die 8 psychic damage. And they are finesse light weapons.
These guys just tear apart bear totem barbarians.
They absolutely would.
It's almost like they're designed as a big FU to the bear totem barbarian.
Oh, you gain resistance to everything but psychic, huh? So you get to create your blades as a bonus action. They're scintillating knives of energy. Now the downside is when you have them out, you can't hold anything in your hands. So no multi-classing, spell casting with these kind of guys because you can't get access to your spell component pouch or any kind of focus or whatever have you. So if you want to go kill things, you're gonna have to just go kill.
These are the psionic Wolverine.
Yeah, really, that's what they are. Except they're breaking your mind as opposed to your body.
So here's where things get a little bit interesting, but only at 10th level and above.
Okay.
And that is Hone the Blade. And starting at 3rd level, basically you have the ability to get bonus to attack and damage. And so 2 power points, +1, not bad. 5 power points, +2. Here's where I find it really interesting. 7 power points, +4 to hit and damage.
Why isn't it 3?
I don't know, but like that's like better than a magic weapon you can get.
It is, and I'm like, I was utterly baffled at this. Now the bonus only lasts for 10 minutes. So
combat.
I'll combat, or maybe if you're lucky in a dungeon crawl too.
Yeah, you just gotta run to the next room.
But it's utterly crazy that it's like, all right, that's a lot of points that you're gonna be using if you're focusing all of that on the blade. But
what else are you gonna spend your points on if you're a soul knife?
There's a couple crazy disciplines that are like, oh, you know what? I just want to add an extra 7 die 10 to this hit.
Yeah.
Blam! This is crazy.
That's still only 14 points.
So
and if you're talking about you have to be 10th level to even do that.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point you have a lot of points to spend.
That's true. So Consumptive Knife, this is the one that I was remembering of earlier. This is where whenever you slay an enemy creature with a soul knife attack, you immediately regain 2 psi points. This is fantastic use of how to refill your Hone the Blade power. Totally love it. 14th level, you get Phantom Knife. This is the one that I didn't really like as much. You can say what instead of attacking multiple times, actually they don't get multiple attacks. Anyway, so never mind. This is actually a great power because you know what? Instead of trying to do a regular attack, I'm just gonna say, you know what? Your AC is 10. Bam.
And I don't actually know that you can not make an offhand attack.
It doesn't say it takes your bonus action.
It just takes an action.
It just takes an action.
I'd have to reread the rules on 2-weapon fighting and see if it specifically calls out when using the attack action as a bonus action you can attack with your offhand. That would be the only thing that I would be a bit curious about. But if not, whatever. It is still pretty nice that you can do that. And if you're going to infuse a weapon with damage, this is the one to do.
Yeah. Treat the target's AC as 10 against this attack, regardless of the target's actual AC. So it's just like, all right, I'm going to cut through your natural armor, through any of your magic defenses and whatever have you. And let's face it, you're 14th level. You're gonna have at least a +9 to hit. 5 from your proficiency, 4 from your hone the blade. As long as you don't roll a 1, you're hitting on this attack.
Yeah, chances are really good.
Make sure you have inspiration just in case, so that when you, by God's chance, you actually wind up rolling that 1. I'll roll again.
Be a halfling.
Be a halfling. Have lucky. Whatever have you. Be prepared.
So finally that leaves us with Order of the Wu Jen. I thought this was an interesting choice for a name because, I guess mysticism, it is a mystic, does work. But for whatever reason, I always thought of Wu Jen as a Asian flavored spellcaster, but they decided to pull it over to the mystic. But, the name aside, this is your psychokinetic, basically
your blaster.
Yeah, you're going to be using...
And that's what kind of fits with the Wu Jen kind of name.
If you're going to go cryokinetic or pyrokinetic, this is the guy that's going to do it, or even just force damage.
Right. So they spread it out a little bit, but lump it all into here.
This one, again, two additional sonic disciplines.
2 skills.
2 skills, and then we get into elemental attunement. So starting at 3rd level, when creatures' resistance reduces damage dealt by a sonic discipline of yours, you can spend 1 side point to cause the use of the discipline to ignore the creature's resistance. You can't spend this point if doing so would increase the discipline's cost above your side point limit.
So this is one of the few places where that actually comes in. There's a couple of sonic disciplines that do call out this as well. But so it's like, all right, if I spent 7 points on my power and then they resist it, I can't be like, well, I'll use another one.
Right.
It doesn't work. But if you use 6 and you have your cap out at 7, here you can be like, nope, I'm golden. He didn't resist that. Nothing. 6th level, they get Arcane Dabbler, which I thought this was kind of fancy. They actually get the ability to have spells. So as a bonus action, you can spend side points to create spell slots, and you get access to 3 wizard spells of your choice. Every level, you can trade them out. They have to be 1st through 3rd level. And
here's the really interesting point, though.
Because you can create spell slots up to 5th.
Right, so you can make better spells, more powerful spells. You can cast them. It's a bonus action. You have to, to sack your side points to turn them into slots. But
so a little bit of sorcery going on here.
Yeah, it is definitely like this is the sorcerer version of the mystics,
and it fits in well with the Wu Jen, in my opinion. It's
all right,
I want to get access to a fireball or a lightning bolt. Well, here you can do it, and you're not just stuck at, well, I can cast them at 3rd level. You know what? You want that 10-6 fireball? You can make it happen for a low cost of 7 side points.
Yes, very good. Elemental Mastery. Starting at 14th level, you have resistance to a type of damage. You can spend 2 side points as a reaction when you take damage of that type. To ignore that damage, you gain immunity to that damage type until the end of your next turn. Not bad. Useful.
Yeah, 2 points. Just like nope. It's 2 points to nope.
Yeah, pretty much. So, that's all the archetypes. That's the mystic. I don't see anything that's glaringly broken at this point. I would have to look a lot deeper and the multi-class. The biggest problem is the fact that you get stuff at 1st level. Hopefully, when this goes through the ringer one more time for the final incarnation, they'll fix that. But at the same time, the cleric suffers from the same problem. The sorcerer to a certain extent.
So what I look at when I give the breakdown on this one, number 1, I don't feel that having the psionicist, having your spellcaster, and your melee weapon fighter being in the same build, it's never going to be easy. And I can't, no one wants to say, all right, well, I want to build to a psionic warrior, but I got to play a caster first.
Yes.
Like, no one wants to do that. Like, so therefore, the only way to do that and have them be linked together is to give it out at first. I think going with the package that they delivered, I think this was the best way. It's something that I wouldn't have even thought of, to say, okay, we're going to break this down into disciplines to really flavor out what it is that you want to do. So I think it's really well done. I don't think it's perfect. I would have preferred to see a psionic martial and a psionic caster and have them be two separate classes. But I think I lost that fight a long time ago when they said, we're doing it as one.
We're doing the Mystic, yeah. You know, to me, this more than anything just screams versatile.
Yeah.
You know, more than anything in particular. And we're going to get into why we say that more so when we look at the talents and the disciplines.
And that's what it is. And I think I love the classes that you do have these multiple stage picks. Mechanically, I think the Warlock is very interesting and pretty darn close to this, because you have the ability to pick a patron, you have the ability to pick a pact, and you have the ability to pick your invocations. I think if you had more classes that were built like that, it gets a little bit more crunchy during character creation, but it does give you more flavor, it does give you more options with building that character, and I dig it. So having these classes built this way, I'm for it.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that, the Mystic is far more useful than a Warlock is. And this character, I do not believe will be a one-trick pony, which the Warlock really suffers from.
Oh, that's a conversation for you guys to have. So any comments you might have, be it on the Mystic or, you know, Dave's idea of the Warlock being a one-trick pony, you know where to put that, down in the argument section. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Could go hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time, stay nerdy.